COMW podcast. Today's episode: Why Coca-Cola spends billions on ads despite 94% global recognition.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We love digging into these big business questions, the ones where the strategy isn't always obvious.
Yeah, and today we've got a classic one, a real head-scratcher if you don't look closely.
Absolutely. We're tackling the billion-dollar Coca-Cola paradox.
Yeah.
Here's a brand, right, that something like 94% of the entire planet recognizes. I mean, think about that. Almost everyone knows the logo, the taste.
I know it is, yeah.
So why on earth are they spending billions, literally billions every single year on ads? It just feels, counterintuitive, like problem solved, move on.
It really does. If you're thinking about advertising in the old way, it's just about making people aware a product exists.
Okay.
But our mission today really is to show you why, for a giant like Coke, that continuous spending is absolutely vital. It's not about basic awareness. It's about protecting a massive asset, using some pretty smart psychology, and frankly, defending their turf in a market that's always shifting.
All right, let's get into that, because the first big piece you're saying is this difference between just knowing a brand exists and something else.
Exactly. It's awareness versus what the experts, especially in marketing science, call mental availability. That's the key distinction.
Mental availability, okay.
Yeah. Awareness is just, it's static. The info's filed away somewhere in your brain. Yep, Coke exists. Mental availability is dynamic. It's about whether the brand springs to mind, instantly, ideally one of the top few choices right at the moment you feel a need.
Okay, so I'm standing there, maybe at a convenience store, suddenly feel really thirsty. It's not just enough that I recognize the Coke logo.
Nope.
It has to be the thing that pops into my head first, or almost first, in that split second I'm deciding.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
We need those mental shortcuts, those pathways in the brain to be really well established. Think about the triggers, the different situations.
Like just being thirsty.
That's one, the impulsive thirst, yeah. But also, maybe you're planning a big barbecue, a get-together.
Mm-hmm.
You need drinks for a crowd. Volume matters then.
Right, or you're at the movies or a concert. It's just context.
Totally different. And the brand needs to be readily available in your mind for all those scenarios. Researchers like Byron Sharp talk a lot about this. For huge brands, growth comes from being easily recalled in as many buying situations as possible.
So the ads are kind of like a constant reminder, a mental workout.
It's like a collective memory exercise, yeah. Constantly reinforcing those links in your brain between a need, thirst, fun, energy, whatever, and Coke as the answer. If you're known, but people kind of forget about you when it's time to buy,
you lose. Someone else gets the sale.
The brand that was top of mind wins. So yeah, it's less about teaching, more about training that default response, occupying that mental space.
Okay, occupying mental space. But the market space isn't static either, right? You mentioned defending turf.
Definitely not static. You've got what I like to call the generational treadmill constantly running.
The generational treadmill, I like that. Because new consumers keep showing up.
Every single decade, roughly 20% of the potential consumer base kind of renews itself.
Yeah.
People come of age, start making their own money, form their own habits.
20%, that's huge.
It means every 10 years, you've got this massive new group, Gen Z now, the one after them soon, and they need their own reasons to connect with the brand. They need fresh stories.
So if Coke just went silent for a year?
They'd basically miss establishing that initial connection with, 2% of the world's incoming consumers right there? And you can't just reach Gen Z with the same ads that worked on their parents.
No way. They're on TikTok. They care about different things.
Exactly. You need gaming partnerships, maybe collabs that feel authentic to them. But at the same time, you still need to connect with, say, baby boomers, maybe through nostalgia, or by advertising things like Coke Zero to address health trends.
It's juggling a lot of different conversations at once.
It is. And if you pause, you drop the ball with an entire generation coming through. You break that chain of relevance.
Yeah. And relevance is key, especially because it's not just Pepsi they're fighting anymore, is it? The whole battlefield has changed.
Oh, massively. It's a war for the consumption moment. Your competitor isn't just another cola. It's that energy drink grabbing the late-night gaming session.
Right. Or the fancy sparkling water someone grabs for lunch because it feels healthier.
Or the ready-to-drink coffee for that 3 p.m. slump. The premium teas, kombucha even. All these categories are aggressively trying to muscle in on moments that maybe used to belong more to sodas.
So if Coke doesn't advertise for, say, the working from home moment,
Someone else will swoop in and claim it. Think about fitness culture, needing hydration drinks, or home offices needing multi-packs, or even cocktail trends needing mixers. Advertising is how Coke says, hey, remember us, we fit here too.
If they go quiet, those new habits get snapped up by whoever's making the most noise.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the really hard numbers behind this, the math that makes the billions make sense. Share of voice, SOV.
Okay, share of voice. I've heard this term. It's basically how much of the advertising noise in your category comes from your brand.
That's it. Your percentage of the total ad spend in, say, the soft drink category. And there's a really critical link between that, your SOV, and your actual share of market, your SOM.
Right, your slice of the sales pie.
Yeah. And the rule, especially for a market leader, is pretty clear. Your share of voice needs to be roughly equal to, or maybe even a bit higher than, your share of market.
So wait, if Coke has, let's say, 50% of the market, they need to be doing about 50% of the advertising. They can't just, coast on their massive lead for a while, save some cash.
You'd think so, but no. The market punishes silence. The moment your SOV drops too far below your SOM, let's say it dips 10 points lower, that's when you start seeing market share literally erode.
Really? You can measure it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's predictable. Losing maybe 0.5%, even 1% of market share over a year or two. For a company the size of Coca-Cola, that translates to hundreds of millions, potentially billions, in lost revenue.
Wow. Okay, suddenly that advertising budget looks less like a cost and more like insurance.
It's absolutely insurance against massive quantifiable losses. But it's doing more than just holding volume. It's fundamentally about protecting their price, the ability to charge more than a generic store brand.
The price premium. Because the ads build up more than just fizz and sugar.
Exactly. They build psychological difference. All those ads create layers of emotion, symbols, associations, fun, togetherness, refreshment, heritage. It's not just about the liquid.
And if the ads stop?
Those layers fade, the brand starts to feel like just another option, a commodity.
Just brown fizzy water, like you said?
And when it becomes a commodity, people buy purely on price. Demand gets super sensitive to discounts. People switch brands for a tiny saving. Profit margins just get squeezed.
So the constant advertising reinforces that feeling that Coke is somehow different, inherently worth that little bit extra.
Precisely. It defends the emotional value that justifies the price tag. And think about the complexity within their own house now. It's not just classic Coke.
Right. There's zero sugar, Diet Coke, caffeine-free, the energy drinks, different flavors.
Cherry Coke, Vanilla Coke.
Yeah.
And each one needs its own message, often aimed at a different person or situation. You need to tell the health-conscious adult about zero, tell the gamer about the energy line.
While still making sure the main Coca-Cola brand feels cohesive.
It's a huge communication challenge.
Right.
Way harder than, say, 20 or 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That advertising has to work on multiple levels simultaneously.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's go even deeper now into the brain stuff.
Yeah.
The cognitive psychology behind why this works.
Yeah, this is where it gets really cool. There's this concept called the mere exposure effect from Robert Zajon.
Mere exposure. Just seeing it makes you like it more.
Basically, yeah. He found that just repeatedly being exposed to something, a symbol, a sound, anything, increases our liking for it, even if we don't consciously think about it or analyze why.
So I might not even really notice the Coke ad playing, but subconsciously, just seeing the red logo again makes my brain feel better about it.
Kind of. It ties into something called processing fluency. Our brains find it easier, more comfortable to process things we're familiar with. Familiarity feels good, safe. So seeing that Coke logo or hearing the jingle requires less mental effort.
Easy equals good for the brain.
Pretty much. It makes the decision faster and easier when you're faced with tons of choices. High fluency favors the familiar brand.
It's like the brain's taking a cognitive shortcut, which sounds a lot like habit formation. I know Charles Duhigg wrote about the habit loop.
Exactly. Cue, routine, reward. Advertising constantly hammers those cues, the red color, the bottle shape, the sound of the can open.
Right, those are the cues.
And it links them relentlessly to the reward, that feeling of refreshment, pleasure, satisfaction you see in the ads. Over time, this helps make the choice, the routine, almost automatic. You see the cue, you want the reward, you grab the Coke without really thinking.
But our memories aren't perfect hard drives, are they? Don't these connections fade?
Oh, absolutely. They decay surprisingly fast. There's classic research by Hermann Ebbinghaus on the forgetting curve. It shows memory isn't static. It fades exponentially unless it's reinforced.
So those brand memories, those associations, They need constant topping up.
Like tending a fire, yeah. Without that reactivation through advertising, those crucial mental links,
Yeah.
the preference, the habit triggers can weaken significantly, maybe 50%, maybe even 80%, pretty quickly. It leaves mental space wide open for competitors to move in.
Advertising is the firewood keeping the brand memory burning bright.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And especially for things like choosing a soda, often a quick, low-thinking decision,
Right.
what you saw recently matters a lot. Recency bias.
Ah, right. The ad I saw yesterday has more impact than the one from last year.
Disproportionately more impact. The brand that's been advertising this week just has that slight edge in your immediate memory. Your brain favors what's fresh, what's current.
Okay, so fluency, habits, memory decay, recency, and this all ties back to the actual stuff Coke uses, right? The assets.
The distinctive brand assets. These are crucial. They're not just design elements. They are, like you said, those proprietary mental shortcuts.
Yeah, you just know that specific shade of red instantly.
Or the contour bottle.
Mm.
The story goes, it was designed so you could recognize it, even if it was broken, or just by touch in the dark.
I wonder if that's true. It's a great story, though. And the logo.
That's Syrian script, the handwriting, it screams heritage, authenticity, and then the sounds, the jingles, the fizz, the pop of the can opening.
Yeah, you can almost hear it now.
Advertising constantly recharges these assets, loads them up with meaning and emotion, so they cut through the clutter super fast when you're scanning a shelf.
And it's not just the assets, it's about staying part of the conversation, right? Culturally.
Absolutely critical today.
Yeah.
You have to be culturally fluent. Advertising lets Coke show up credibly during big moments. Everyone's watching the World Cup, Christmas, the Olympics.
The plan stuff.
Yeah, but also reacting to what's happening now. Tapping into digital trends, gaming culture, social movements where appropriate. If a huge brand goes silent, it starts to feel old, disconnected. Especially to younger people who really value cultural relevance.
Okay, so putting it all together, the ultimate reason for the billions is basically avoiding a catastrophe.
It really comes down to the astronomical cost of trying to rebuild what you let slide. The cost of silence.
It's more expensive to fix it than to maintain it.
Way more. Studies consistently show that trying to rebuild a neglected brand, claw back that lost mental availability and positive feeling. It takes something like 3 to 5 times the investment compared to just keeping things steady with continuous advertising.
Whoa. 3 to 5 times.
Yeah. So that annual ad spend, it's not really an expense in the usual sense. It's efficient asset protection. It's insurance against having to spend way, way more later just to get back to where you were, and defending an asset worth tens and tens of billions, when you frame it like that.
It makes perfect sense. It's completely rational, even essential.
It proves that just being known, that basic awareness, is only step one. It's the foundation. But you need that constant smart advertising to drive memory, to build habits, to defend your price, and to keep connecting with new generations. It turns known into chosen.
Wow. That really is the core insight. What seemed like a paradox is actually just smart, long-term strategy grounded in psychology and market dynamics.
Exactly. And think about this with media being so fragmented now. TV, streaming, TikTok, podcasts, gaming, everything. Isn't it incredibly harder now just to maintain that consistent presence?
Oh, definitely. Just reaching people consistently must be way more complex and probably more expensive than it used to be.
Which arguably makes that continuous investment even more critical than ever before. Just staying mentally available across all those channels is a monumental task.
That's a great point to end on. A lot to think about there. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this look behind the curtain of big brand advertising interesting, maybe share it with someone else who'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next exploration. We always love hearing your thoughts in the comments, too.
Definitely. And just a reminder, everyone, this is all for educational discussion. It's not specific marketing or business advice for your situation.
Always best to consult with professionals for that.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep digging deeper.
See you then.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this podcast helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Do you have any questions or want to suggest a topic? Just let us know in the comments. See you in the next episode. See you later.